As the AI revolution begins, we see a lot of people moving their data to S3, especially to train their algorithms so that the data which they have will come to use. And we also see that S3 is also acting as a threat vector for the ransomware attackers. In this video, we'll discuss about how S3 can act as a ransomware threat vector. Second, we'll also discuss about how Elastio can help you protect against it. Third, we'll discuss about how Elastio is different from AWS native solution. Let's get started. So there are two primary ways in which S3 can be a threat vector. The first is S3 can act as an entry point, and the second is S3 can act as a distribution point. So when it comes to the entry point, what typically happens is a bad actor replaces a good object with a bad object or a malicious object. So it could be as simple as replacing your image file with a malicious image file. So it's a very common thing that the malicious payload will be an image file. So in this particular case, what really happens is whenever this malicious S3 object is accessed by a compute, in this particular case, it could be EC2 instance. That is when we see the data getting encrypted. Your EBS data, your EFS, FSX, or even your backups and snapshots, even though they're immutable, because if the data gets encrypted, your backups and your snapshots will also be useless because those are also getting encrypted. And the second thing is S3 as a distribution point. In many cases in open source, we have this node package management where some package has a dependency on some other package. And if that package is sitting in S3 and it has malicious code in it, so all the subsequent dependencies which were using this package will also become malicious. We have seen this attack in 2019 where an abandoned bucket was used and then replaced with a malicious code, and the malware has spread to multiple people from there. So these are the two ways, and now we'll see about how Elastio will help you protect against these attacks. So this is very simple architecture of S3. We deploy with a CloudFormation template. It would take hardly 15 minutes. And essentially what we do is we can track the objects which are being created or modified, or we can also scan the entire buckets. So what we do is essentially we mount the S3 bucket on an EC2 instance, which is on demand. So you don't have to run your compute constantly. It's just only running while your scans are happening. It is cost optimized for that reason. So you can either perform a scheduled scan or an on-demand scan, and data never leaves your environment. Only the scan metadata leaves. So all your data custody is with you. So it is designed for enterprise scale. It is a very simple architecture which can deploy in 15 minutes. Elastio differentiates itself primarily because it can also detect ransomware encryption. In many cases, the malware self-deletes itself. So knowing only the malware piece, it's not useful. But what Elastio does, it can actually detect the patterns of ransomware encryption. Unlike GuardDuty, where it only inspects for malware. Both Elastio and GuardDuty can detect malware, but detecting ransomware encryption, only Elastio can do it. And it is built for enterprise scale. There is no limit on the bucket versus 10 bucket limitation for AWS native solution. No limit on object size. You can see a 5 GB limit for GuardDuty. And when it comes to EC2 EBS, we detect ransomware encryption, and you can also schedule the scans, unlike GuardDuty, which we have here. And there is no limit on the volume size. GuardDuty has a 2 TB limit, as you can see, and we can scan the EFS file system. The other cannot do it, and we can integrate with AWS backup. So whenever a backup is taken, we can ensure that you always have a last known clean. That's a huge positive. We have a lot of customers using that feature. And when it comes to pricing, we really care about our customers to scan the data as frequently as possible. Therefore, we charge on data protected and not scan data. It is irrelevant for Elastio how many times you scan the data. We really want you to scan as many times as possible. And when it comes to objects, we can scan both new objects as well as existing objects, whereas guard duty can scan only the new objects. And when it comes to archive files, we don't have any limitations. Guard duty, as you see, have some limitations of 5 nested folders and 1,000 extracted files when it is an archived folder. In this way, Elastio differentiates itself and provides more unique capabilities of detecting ransomware encryption, and we have built for enterprise solutions. Thank you.